Okay, so welcome back. In today's lesson, I'm going to talk about what we call comments in Python, right? So the first question, obviously, that you want to ask is, what is a comment? So a comment is just an explanation to your code, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Let's say I have a line which prints, my name is Satson. If somebody looks at this line, they might not have an idea of what is going on. So it's my responsibility as the one who's writing this code to provide comments so that humans who are going to see my code, they understand what is going on. So I could, provide a comment over here and say, printing my name. All right, so the second question is obviously, how do we comment? In Python, we have a couple of ways that we can comment. The first one, obviously, is using this hash symbol. The text that follows is going to be grayed out, as you guys can see. So this means that it's going to be ignored when this file is going to be run in the Python interpreter, right? So it's going to be ignored. Similar with this line, if let me save and run this. Right now you have my name is Sadson, but if I comment it out, if I put that hash symbol at the beginning, if I try and run it again, you will see it disappears because these two lines are going to be ignored. Right, so I'm going to uncomment this line over here. Right, so this is how we comment. The second way that you might comment your code is by using what we call multi-line strings in Python. You use 3 quotation marks, and so I could say printing my, and then I can go on to the next line and say printing my name. So this is how you can write multi-line strings. But you can also use it as comments, okay, to your code. Let's say you want to comment on multiple lines, and so you can just use triple quotation marks. It's going to behave the same way as the hash symbol. If I try and use the hash symbol here on this line, it's not going to affect this second line. So I have to put 2 hash symbols. This is also possible in Python. This is how you can, comment multi-line comments. But if you don't want to use these pound sign, you can just use triple quotes, and that's it. And let me see here, remove 1. You can use just 3 of these, and then you can see this is also grayed out. So this is how we comment 2 ways, using the hash symbol or the octotop, or you can use triple quotation marks like this one. All right, and the third question that you want to ask is, why should we comment? So I've already explained. The first one is you want to explain your code. And then the second reason why you would want to comment is you want to prevent certain lines of code from being executed. For instance, let's say I had 2 lines over here. The other one says, my name is Paul. This is a random name, by the way. And so if I save and run this, you see down here, I have 2 lines being executed. But let's say I didn't want this first line to be executed, so I could remove it. But, that might not be convenient because I might want to use it later on. So what I can simply do is I can comment it out. And so it's going to be ignored. And so now it's going to print only that single line, this one. As you guys can see, this is grayed out. All right, so it's important that you comment your code, because if you don't comment it, 2 years pass by, you might not remember what your code was doing or what your code is doing. And so you need to comment. You need to provide comments in your code, because it helps you and other developers as well to understand what your code is doing. All right, so I also want to talk about what we call docstrings. Docstrings in Python. So docstrings is short for documentation strings. Okay, so these are important in modules. It's also important in classes, and it's also used in functions, right? So I will talk about documentation in docstrings in functions. This is what we have learned so far. The rest we haven't done these. So the way we create a function is, let's say def, and I want to create a function called self_intro. This is going to be my self-introduction, and so I can put in a few print statements here. I can say my name is Satson. This is the first statement, and then I can duplicate this a couple of times. And then I can say my a favorite color is blue, I could do that. And then let me do away with this line. Let me, keep these two lines. And so the way we use functions is we have to call the function down here, and if I run this, you see down here these two lines printed. Okay, so the way we use the docstring is we want to provide some documentation such that when somebody accesses this function, they can then access the documentation and know what this function is all about. And so you can use triple quotes, and then you can say, this is my self intro. And so you close this with triple quotation marks. As you can see, this becomes a docstring. Okay, it becomes a docstring because number one, it's inside a function. Number two, you have to put it on top of the body of the function. So inside the body, it has to be the first statement. If you put it down here, then it's not going to count as a docstring. And so now we can access this. If I print here, let me print self intro. Now we can use a built-in attribute to access this docstring. So I can say dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. This is an attribute that I'm using. It's called underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. So if I save and run this, you can see down here we have what we call, this is my self intro. So we can access this using this attribute, which is built into Python. I can access the documentation of this particular function using this attribute. And we can do this to built-in functions and built-in modules. All right, so going back here, we want to answer the questions about comments. And so fill in the blank to comment out text. So here, commenting, we use the hash symbol and check it out. That's the correct answer. And then last but not least, can a docstring contain multiple lines of text? Obviously, that's a yes, and check it out. That's the correct answer. All right, so in our final part of this module, we're going to look at module 6 quiz, and we'll be done and we'll get our certificate. I want to thank you guys for your time. I hope to see you in our next video. For now, I'm out. Bye-bye.